Hello, everyone. We are live. We are so excited tonight. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Come on, friends and family. We are excited about tonight. Tonight, we are going to have a really, really good time. I'm so excited because I have some sister friends here with me. And not only are they wonderful women, but they are beautiful women. And I think that's the reason why we have so many people that have liked our pages, liked all of the flyers. I even got some inboxes with hearts under some of the pictures of the ladies. So I know that you all are just as excited as I am about this evening. Tonight, we have 4 women that are beauty bosses, and this is going to be the first of many segments that deal with minding my own business. Yes, we're liberated to love, we're living a liberated life, but we are minding our own business for this particular series. We're minding our own business, but this series is dealing with being a beauty boss. So there's so many things that we can use to make ourselves more beautiful. We know, though, that the most beautiful aspect of who we are is coming from the inside out. But tonight we have an esthetician, someone that's talked to us about our skincare. We have someone who is a makeup artist extraordinaire. She's going to tell us about how we can accentuate all the positives and eliminate some of the negatives. We have someone that is a specialist in natural hair who's going to speak to us about natural hair care and how we can take care of our hair and not have to necessarily buy somebody else's. Amen. And then we have another sister who is a fashionista extraordinaire in and of her own right. So tonight, I don't want us to belabor the issue. We are going to jump right in, and I want to introduce to you the very first person, the person that I've known the longest on the panel. We grew up together in Lawton, Queens. All my Queens girls, y'all just wave your hands. Wave your hands if you're from Queens. I can't see you, but we're just going to pretend I can see you. But all the Queens, we want to say thank you, thank you, thank you to all the Queens that are joining us today. Sister Sharice is in the building. We grew up, I think it's like 2 or 3 houses from one another. We used to sing across the porches to one another. We had a good time as little girls, and now we've grown to be women that are owning and minding our own business. So let me bring Sister Sharice in. Sister Sharice.
Hi, hey, Dr. KJ. How are you?
I'm wonderful. This is Sister Sharice. And then the person that I probably, I met her. I met her at the very best university in all of the United States of America. I met her when I went down to Nashville, Tennessee, and I attended the illustrious Fisk University nestled in the heart of Nashville, Tennessee. And I saw this beautiful brown sister walking on the campus. I was an upperclassman. She was just a little bit younger than me. And I came to find out that we had more in common than just being beautiful brown girls, but she's also a native of my mother's homeland, Jamaica, West Indies, and she has grown to be a stellar young woman, and I am so excited and proud to be connected to her and share our Fisk and our Jamaican pride. Sister Melissa is in the building. Melissa.
Hi. How are you, gorgeous? Yes, the illustrious Fisk University. We love our Fisk, right?
That's right. We are daughters ever on the altar.
Ever on the altar.
And then, that's right. And then a little while later, after I graduated from Fisk family, I found myself at a birthday party, and there was another beautiful brown bombshell on the dance floor twirling as she loves to do till this day. And we connected, and then later on, our paths crossed again. And I met her as a makeup artist as well, but then we joined paths. She had locks before I had locks, and I said, "Girl, what you got going on with your hair?" And she shared with me so many jewels about her natural hair journey. And now we have become sister friends. None other than Sister Jane B in the building.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, Jane.
Hey.
Wonderful, wonderful. And last but definitely not least. So how many of you out there remember MySpace? I don't know if you remember MySpace. MySpace, back when we had MySpace, I connected with this woman, and she had her jewelry on MySpace. She had some of her fashion things on MySpace, and I followed her. And then one of my brothers in ministry, he was madly in love with her, and I was like, let me check this chick out. And I checked the chick out, and as the Lord would have it, our paths have been able to cross, and she has not just been someone that I've loved and admire from afar, but she has become someone that has become a sister girl near and dear to my heart, that we have our sister girl conversations every now and then, and it's been a joy to have her in my life. So you know her as Gugu, but this is my sister girl. Gugu, come on, Gugu Atkins.
Hello, hi everybody.
Hi.
Thank you, Keisha.
So I am so excited. I am surrounded by these beauties, and tonight I would just love for us to start out our conversation by allowing each of you to share a little bit about your stories. I have recently become a business owner, a sisterpreneur, and each of you have your own businesses in your own right. But I know that it didn't happen overnight. I know that there have been things that have been laid in your path that brought you to where you are today. There have been obstacles as well as blessings that have found themselves in your path. So I want to start with Sister Cherise. Cherise, I'd love for you just to share a little bit about who you are, what you do, and what led you to where you are today.
Okay. Well, I'm Cherise. I'm a New York State licensed esthetician and skincare specialist. I've been an esthetician now for about nine years. I used to be in the mortgage business, and when that business took a turn, in my early, I started formulating and mixing my own products and dibbling, dabbling in ingredients, and I became very, very good at it. And I decided I wanted to become an esthetician, so that's where it all started. My company is Glow by SWG. I specialize in skincare treatments such as hydrodermabrasion, microdermabrasion, chemical peels, custom formulated skincare.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. So I'd like to go on and we'll get more in depth about your journey and about some of the obstacles and some of the challenges you may have faced. But next we want to ask Melissa. Sister Melissa, how did you start your journey? How did you start your journey to being a makeup artist?
Well, as you mentioned, you and I met in college. So, I was a pre-law undergrad major in college and decided I was not going to law school. Moved to New York, and I worked in corporate marketing for 14 years. But even while in college and even throughout corporate America, I was always known to do beauty. I was doing beauty and makeup in the dorms, and then even while working in corporate America, weekends and summer times, I was always called on by friends and family to do makeup. So when I felt the urge to shift from corporate marketing, I took a sabbatical and I really just got quiet and centered and prayed and fasted and really just tried to understand why I wasn't happy. Making six figures, living a great life, as an executive professional, but I just was not happy. And it really just all came back to me what I loved. And they always say, the thing that you're supposed to do comes so easily and so effortlessly for you. And, I stepped into that. I leaned into that as my truth. And so I walked away from corporate America in 2012 and pursued beauty full time. And just really went, full force. I didn't really care about, competition and, starting over and stepping into an industry that was really, competitive and had some amazing people already who were doing great things. But, I really just believed in my talent. I also believed, that there was still room for me to do well and to excel. So that's really, for me, the impetus was really to, walk away from the corporate life that I felt, was no longer serving me, and to step into my purpose in beauty.
Wow, nice. And Sister Jane, would you share with us your story, how you got to where you are?
Absolutely. So I've been in the beauty business since '97, and I was working corporate America. Absolutely hated it. I knew I was a creative person, but I just could not believe that someone could make a living doing what they like. I didn't think that was a thing at that time. And I started out being a makeup artist just by fluke, by chance. I ran into a lady at the makeup store, and she was like, "Oh, I do professional makeup. Do you assist?" And I was like, "Yeah." I didn't know what assisting meant. I just was like, "Yeah, I assist." And the next thing you knew, she had me on the set for Essence magazine. And from there, I just that was how I got my way in the door in terms of the industry and in terms of doing makeup. And then years later, things started to take a turn for me, and it wasn't as busy doing makeup. And so I just shifted my focus to hair, because I always did hair, but I didn't focus on it. And then I shifted my focus to natural hair. And once I did that, and really, it was a learning curve, just making sure I got all the things I needed to know as far as natural hair, care, and things like that. And I became a licensed natural hairstylist. And from there, so I got a chance to really blend the two gifts. So I still do makeup, but I do hair more. And I just got a chance. I'm really passionate about hair, because especially Black women in our natural hair, and just like celebrating it, and women just honoring their natural hair and just wanting it to grow. Not that anything else is wrong, but to really naturally. And so that's why now that's just a super, super, super short version of it. But so that's how I got to where I am now.
Wonderful. Thank you. It seems like Goo stepped out for a second just as we were coming to Goo. And when she comes back, we'll just go ahead and bring her back in and ask for her journey. So each of you have shared that you had another role, another path that you were on. What have you found to be some of the major challenges, or what was the major challenge for you to walk away? What was the thing that was holding you? Was it the paycheck? Was it the stability of knowing that you had a check coming in that made you say, I'm going to stay, I'm going to just go ahead and stay where I am? Or was it something else? Oh, here's Goo. I think Google is back, so we'll just go ahead and shift back. Google, you back with us?
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. The sound just keeps going out. I'm back now, though. I'm sorry.
No problem. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and backtrack. And why don't you share with us, Google, how you started? What led you to where you are today?
Oh, a lot of stuff. I was a background singer, and so self-employment started out really early for me. And I knew I didn't, want to work in corporate. And, I was there, and I was like, I don't want to be ungrateful. However, I don't want to be here. So I didn't start develop. How sometimes when you're ready to do something different, you can get a little complaining and a little kind of nasty. And it's just like, I didn't want to be ungrateful in that way, but I knew I didn't want to be there. So I actually started out doing makeup for weddings and proms and stuff like that. And then that moved to background singing, and then that moved to styling, and then that moved to what I'm doing now. I still work in the beauty industry, but I'm not doing any of those things. But it was honestly, it really came because, once one thing dried up, you got to do the next thing. And like Melissa said, when you're, what you're good at, what you want to do, whatever, certain things come naturally for you, something along that vein. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I could do hair a little bit. Yeah, sure. I can style.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of how it happened. I just, I learned how to style that way because I was kind of in between gigs, just being honest. And then, I kind of, tried to sharpen my gift as best as I could while on the job. And so then that's how I became the stylist that I became.
Wonderful, wonderful. So the next question I was kind of going into was, what was the biggest obstacle that you faced?
Oh,
And this is for any of you. What has been like the biggest obstacle that you faced on your journey?
for me?
Any of you, any of you.
Oh,
It's an open question. Any of you.
Hmm.
I would say that the
Mm.
biggest obstacle I faced was getting to the point where I believed that I was going to be okay, even if I didn't see it. Like, even if I didn't see my next client, even if I couldn't, I didn't have anyone scheduled. And for years, I always would fret, I would be like, oh my God, where's my next dollar going to come from? And it wasn't until really, to be honest, until like 2013, where I realized it was a pattern of things always working out, even if it was the last minute, things always came through. And then at that time is when I decided that I'm not going to worry anymore, that things are going to always work out for me. So just to be honest, like the faith, because when you work for yourself, you are the business, right? So it was just like the faith in believing that I'm going to be okay. So now it's just like I feel like if no one's on the book, I'm fine on Monday, and then by Friday I'm all booked up. So things just
Mhm.
always work out. That was a big obstacle I had to get over.
Mhm.
Great. Great. Yeah. Yeah. I know that I can attest to that. There have been times, particularly during this COVID season, that I'm like, Lord, I'm gonna need somebody to gonna need something from me. And just like you said, it would come in by Friday, everything I needed. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I can actually buy some Uber Eats now because I got a couple extra dollars. Right? So so Sharice, can you share with us, what would you say was your biggest disaster, maybe? If in beauty, each of us can say, oh, we think about maybe a disaster that may have taken place, like it was Janet Jackson who had the wardrobe malfunction, or but each of us have seen, oh my goodness, why did I put that makeup on that person? Or oops, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But so what have you grown through? Tell us what you've grown through, because I know when you first started out, you weren't perfect. None of us were perfect when we first started out. So
No, yeah, you're right. No one's perfect when they're first starting out. Everything's about trial and error. With me, I got much better, just working with different skin types and different conditions. I think when I started formulating in the beginning, I used to make a lot of product way too strong, so I'm against a lot of over exfoliating at this point in my career. Um, so sometimes when I look back at things like, some of my products and the strength of my product, it kind of makes me like, that's a little bit too much.
Mhm. So you just mentioned that you learned that over exfoliating, and we
But pretty
always
much,
hear about, I know.
oh, there you go. You kind of faded out for a second. I mean, I just look back on a lot of things, like, like the products that I formulated in the beginning. A lot of them were good, but they were a little too strong.
Okay.
So now
And
I
you
have
spoke
everything the way, I want it.
Okay. So you spoke
Yeah.
to this over exfoliating, and so many of us have heard of St. Ives. You remember St. Ives
Mm-hmm.
in the drugstore that we would use
Yeah.
St. Ives, and scrubbing and scrubbing and scrubbing, and so one of your tips that you just gave us kind of on the low was that we don't need to over exfoliate
No.
as particularly as people of color, correct?
Right,
Okay,
exactly.
great.
Because our skin is prone to burning. So you never want to over exfoliate the skin because you start to strip the skin's natural oil barrier. So it's always important to whatever you take out, you want to put back in. If you keep taking and taking and taking from the skin, our skin would eventually burn. So you have to
Hmm.
be very, very
Is
careful. Mhm.
And isn't it true? And this kind of goes for you and Jane. isn't it true that the first place that when someone has an illness or there's a sickness or something going on, the first places we see that will be in the skin or in the hair, correct?
Right. Yeah. Your skin is a reflection of whatever's going on, within your body. So,
Right.
so whether it's acne, any type of inflammation like eczema, or it stems from everything stems from what's going on inside the body.
Mm-hmm. And let me just say, you may not be able to see it, but Sharice's face is flawless. Let's just be very clear. It's flawless. And so Jane, now Jane has her hair in a nice updo, but her locks are cascading locks, right? They are cascading. Can you tell us some of the challenges that you faced with many of the women of color, particularly as it pertains to our natural hair?
I think, well, the biggest thing that I just made a post about recently is that the biggest secret, the biggest secret in growing hair is to leave it alone. And that's something as Black women, we just do not do because we've been conditioned to do other things. That's just the truth. And so I try to encourage my clients to leave their hair alone. I think the biggest challenge we face are styles that are extremely too tight for our edges, because edges matter, just like Black lives. Edges matter too. So we need to loosen up tight, super tight styles. And we need to, just release them, let them go, let the hair go free, let the hair breathe. And then the follicles be happy. The follicles will grow, they'll, regenerate, and the thing is, you don't want to get to a point where it's clean like your hand, because then you may not be able to grow it back. So I would just say the biggest challenge is just our mindset of not thinking that we always have to do things that really, really bring damage to our hair. And that's really tight styles. So I know it's because, instant styles are what's popping. But the truth is, like years later down the road, then you come see me, and then you're like, help. And I can't help at that point. So I just say, start off early and, beat the odds by stopping the tight styles now, so that when you're in your 60s and 70s, you can have hair, in your 60s and 70s and 80s. You just have to give it a break now. So I would say that's the biggest thing that I share with people when it comes to the natural hair.
Okay. And Melissa, as one who enhances the natural beauty of women when they come to you, women and men, because we do know that men, particularly in the industry, men come for makeup and they need to be made up. What would you say some of your biggest challenges have been?
Wow. I think with regard to makeup, particularly working with clients, everyday women, I think the biggest challenge is allowing them to see themselves for who they are instead of wanting makeup that will transform them into somebody that they're not. Particularly someone who is of a different, race or shade, somebody who may be really popular, on TV or social media, and they love that look and they want that look, but it's virtually impossible. I do great work, but I'm not a magician. So I always try to encourage women, particularly, women of color, that, you have these unique features. Your beauty is incredibly unique. And so I really want to focus on colors that work for you. I really want to focus on, your specific features. I want to bring those out. I don't want to, put a nude on you if I know that it doesn't work. I don't want to put peach colors on you if I know it doesn't work. I know that may have looked good from what you saw in that magazine or on that person's social media page, but it does not work for you. So there's a lot of education involved in teaching about skin tones and undertones and, all of those elements, as to just understanding why, educating them on what works best. And then also the idea of, the less is more. I'm also a licensed esthetician, so I'm always saying skin first. If you take care of your skin, you intend to wear less makeup. And you would think, wow, why is the makeup artist promoting less makeup? Well, I'm not saying no makeup. I'm saying less makeup. I'm saying that the idea and the approach can be minimal for still a flawless and beautiful glow. But it's only achievable if you take care of your skin first. So a big part of my makeup process is skin prepping, and skin education first before makeup application. So that's really my aesthetic. It's really beauty, glamorous, flawless, effortless makeup.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, I heard you make a comment regarding some of a lot of sisters, brothers and sisters, they want to look like someone that they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And we had this whole onslaught of people that wanted to look like Kim Kardashian, right? They wanted to have that Kim Kardashian contour. They wanted to have all of that going on. Even when it came to their hair, all of those aspects. What do you say to them? What do we say? How can we speak to our brothers and sisters and let them know, particularly our sisters, you are beautiful. Just work with what God gave you. What would you say to them?
Listen, the Kim Kardashian contour is our features that are appropriated, right? So the idea that you want larger lips, hello, natural. The idea,
right?
The idea that you're adding bronzer to look darker. Hello, I could go on and on and on about how we have these natural features that already exist within us that someone else desires, and yet they desire it so much, they market it so much, and we're like, then we buy into something that we already possess naturally. So we have to be able to understand the onslaught of sort of diminishing what we were like naturally born with, because in the diminishing of that, we end up purchasing and buying into other people's narratives of what beauty is, and then it completely shifts not just what's offered on the marketplace, but also what we end up using and consuming for ourselves in our own makeup application. I think one of the biggest challenges for our industry is the let's just say the YouTube population that have been, quite frankly, they are great, but a lot of them are used to only working on their skin, their own face, their own shape, and all those things. It does nothing for the other person. So if you're not professional, where you've worked on every shade, every skin tone, every shape of face, every race, all those different things, then there's absolutely no way that you are poised to inform me or educate me on anything when you've only worked on your own face. So I think we just need to really do our best to focus on our own uniqueness, our own skin, what works for us, understanding even just our skin condition. Are we oily? Are you combination? Are you dry? And starting there, because that also helps in understanding what your foundation choices are. Some people use cream foundation and they don't even need it, and it's so much coverage, and so these are a lot of things in educating a lot of my clients and women just in general, just about their choices, but also because it's popular on social media, it does not mean that it's for you. Strobing and highlighting and over contouring and these lashes that look like you're flying away and all those things, like they're not normal. They're not for you.
Let's just talk about the lash ministry. The lashes.
It's sensational because the screen, there's a lot of entertainment value that comes across. It's sensational for social, but it's not realistic. When I go to the mall and I see these young girls with these lashes, outlandish lashes, and this heavy makeup, and they're only 16, 17, and 18, I'm terrified. I'm terrified of what they think of themselves so young.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you bring up that point, because as many of persons that follow me know, every year I do a college tour. And this past year, when we did the college tour, it was overwhelming the number of young ladies that came on the tour with the weaves that were, really long. And hey, wear your weave, but at 15, at 16, and to Jane's point, the edges, I can only imagine how tight the braids are up under there. And then you have the young ladies that pile on the makeup. To your point about skincare with Sharice, you're talking about, being able to cleanse and exfoliate. I mean, you can see the acne protruding through the makeup, right?
Yeah.
And we can't even begin to discuss the lashes that are like this.
Yeah.
Like you know, and some of the brothers that were on the tour, they were like, let me ask you a question. What's going on with these lashes? You know, and we were like, it was just overwhelming. And they're 15, they're 16.
Yeah.
So what would you say as women, as more mature women, how do we shift the culture, the beauty culture for our younger sisters?
A lot of it starts at home, and then the other part of it ends in what they see and have access to. Because to be honest with you, it's not a question of are there not other alternatives out there to see beauty that's represented in a way that that should be inspiring to young women. It is honestly what they're consuming. And, you know, it's what they're choosing to tune into. It's what they're reading, what websites they're on, what they are consuming is also a part of it too. But then the other part of it too is, you know, I have a 2-year-old, so she's obviously only playing in, you know, water-based vegan nail polish. That's for toddlers, right? But I will never allow her to use makeup until she totally understands her skin. And that's really, you know, that's the biggest, because that's what you're living in at the end of the day. Makeup is temporary at the end of the day. And at the beginning of the day, it's your skin. And so that lack of education then, you know, causes these young women to really focus on the makeup, what can I put on it, as opposed to what can I put in me? You know, what can I put on me versus what can I put in me? And honestly, I wish that I had the ability to put what's in them, but I'm only one person on the other side of the screen. I'm not in their home. And we know 7% of households are ran by single moms. So then, you know, single moms have a whole lot of other responsibilities on their hands. It's a challenge. It's a challenge. We just need more of us, you know, to be able to have platforms to just continue to talk about it, and hopefully they, you know, somehow they find us.
Yeah, absolutely. So you also brought up, and this is open to each of us, to each of you. You also brought up YouTube University. So many of us go to YouTube University. I learned so many things. I learned about, let me just think of some of the things that I learned that are probably not good, but I'm sure people that are listening are probably gonna be like, oh, yep. I heard about laying upside down so that with your head upside down so that the blood can flow to your head and stimulate, help with hair growth. I think that was the inversion. I heard, Sharice, about washing your face, sudsing up your face for at least 60 seconds. That's the 60-second rule, putting the soap on your face, you know, for at least 60 seconds. I heard, what was the other one? There was another one that, what is that? Vagisil, I think it is, or Vicks, that they would put on their edges.
Oh, yeah.
To help your edges grow, right? We've heard about all these different methods to help your edges grow. So would you say that some of these things that we're hearing are more damaging?
Yeah.
Or would you, I mean, hey, you said, yeah.
Garbage.
A lot of it is rubbish. You know, a lot of times, you know, like there's people that come to me and says, you know, I ask them like, why, you know, what happened around their mouth or what happened around their nose, you know, the sensitive areas, and telling me they're using Aztec clay with apple cider vinegar, you know, just, and they're pretty much burning their skin. And, you know, apple cider vinegar is very acidic. So like I said, when you're dealing with brown skin, you know, you're prone to get burned. So their mouth is all burnt, you know, I'm just like, it looks really bad, you know, and it takes time to heal. And, you know, they said, I learned it I saw this girl on YouTube and I'm, you know, following what she did. And that's the world we live in today.
University is like not accredited, right? I mean, listen, okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, like there's girls in there doing their, like, these deep chemical pills, and they have like 3rd-degree burns, you know, it's crazy.
Yeah, right. A lot of it, because, you know, people have these platforms and they can go on there and they create these sensational experiences that are not real, and there are harmful, misinformed, not rooted in education, not rooted in science, not rooted in, actual practical skills, not rooted in anything other than in their own bedroom or bathroom, wherever they are. That's the root of it. And no basis. Now, I'm not going to disqualify everything on YouTube as irrelevant, but particularly when it comes to areas of practices with hair and makeup and skin, where many of us have gone to cosmetology school, esthetician school. We've become licensed. We've put in the work. We put in the time, and those things don't just come naturally. I mean, there's the natural talent. And then there's the actual application and education that goes beyond that makes you an expert in your particular area. And that can't come from YouTube University.
Yeah.
That's right. We have a question that came up. And yes. Go ahead, Jane. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I just was going to chime in and say I stay having to manage expectations. So do not come in my chair and tell me what they said on YouTube. And I'm like, they don't see your hair on YouTube. I'm actually touching your hair. I'm feeling your hair. And your hair is not going to do what Tracy Ellis Ross's hair do. Y'all don't have the same parents. Y'all don't have the same heritage. So you're not going to have no curly hair. There ain't nothing wrong with that. But I just have to say, no. You got 4C. She got 3A. It's not the same. So, I stay having to first hold their hand and walk them back to reality. And then we go from there. Because there's a lot of fantasy. It's a lot of fantasy. There's a lot of fantasy. You have to bring back the fantasy.
I agree with you.
It's a lot.
So much. Yeah.
So we have a question, and the floor is open for questions. I did get a message that Google is also coming back on. She was on earlier. I believe she's trying to get back on. I don't know what the challenge is. She was on just a little earlier. So those of you that have joined us looking for Google, we're praying that she will come back on. She had a little technical difficulty. But we have a question, and this is from Sharon Z. She says, I really need help with my hair. Breakage and thinning is in the back of my head. She wants to know, what can she do to prevent that? And I guess that would go to you, Jane.
Okay. Well, first I would need to know, does she have a relaxer in her hair? Is her hair natural? And sometimes, natural. A lot of times when there's breakage in the back, sometimes when there's breakage in the back, I notice that when you wear wigs or anything like that, that it's constantly rubbing. A lot of times you will have breakage in the back. That could be it. I'm not saying that is necessarily the case, but that does lend to little breakage in the back. I would just say, honestly, leave it alone. That's the rule of thumb for me. Leave it alone in terms of putting anything on it, adding any stresses to it, and just maybe take off any thinning edges. And if you need a trim or anything like that, you could just trim it and just kind of like let it be. Just sit and let it be, and just see if it's going to grow back on its own, or do you have some permanent, scarring or something that's going to keep it off? But things like that, usually questions like that, they always require a consultation, because I would need to actually see it, and then I can give my, expert advice.
Okay. If there was one thing that you would not leave home without in your field, what is that one thing that you would not, if you were stranded on a desert island, what is that one thing that you would not? Just one, ladies. Just one.
It would have to be my lipstick, Okay. Yeah. You're asking us personally what we would right?
Correct.
It would have to be my red lipstick. That's coming with me to the ends of the earth.
Red lipstick. Let's be very clear, because now, what are your thoughts about this? Blue lipstick, black lipstick, green lipstick, all of those. I have my thoughts, my feelings, my opinions. But overall, what would you say?
Again, it's very sensational.
I was asking about the lipstick,
No, I
Jane.
didn't hear the question.
Right. I asked what were her thoughts on the blue, the green, the black lipstick, and she was saying that it's very sensational.
Yeah, it's very sensational, very trendy,
yeah.
but it's just not glamorous. I just believe that what's realistic. I believe in what makes you look the best, and I just don't. I feel that those colors just take away from your beauty. That's just my opinion. But I'm just not a fan of those crayon colors.
We're not Crayola, okay.
Right.
Okay, Jane, what are you not leaving home without? What is that thing you're taking with you to the dinner?
Now you don't mean for work, you mean for me personally.
Right. Yeah, for your beauty, for when you're going somewhere. I know you like to twirl and you can't carry a whole lot in your bag. So what is that one thing you are going to take with you?
Probably my baby edge gel, because I need to create a baby edge moment. Yeah. So I'm going to get that baby edge moment, because even if the face is just looking real mediocre, if I put a little baby here, I could get over.
Yeah.
I would say my edge control.
All right, red lipstick, edge control. And Sharice, what are you taking with you to the desert island?
I want to say my top secret serum, because
I knew you were going to say serum.
I can't live without my serum. I'm sorry. I have to have my serum. I'll go crazy if I didn't have my serum. Like, I can do with everything, because I love lipstick, and I hate that we have to wear a mask now, that you can't, really wear lipstick. But if I had to choose like a skincare item, I would say my top secret serum for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And what does the serum do for us? How does that benefit us?
The top secret serum, serums in general are highly concentrated, so they deliver the ingredients to the skin at an accelerated rate. So they deliver a lot of water to the skin. So it gives you like a really nice glow. So like the light is just bouncing off your skin. Mm-hmm. It makes your skin look really supple. Really supple and dewy, So I love serum. And the serum that I actually formulate is highly concentrated. So, a little goes a long way, and it just gives you like a really nice glow.
Yeah. I love a great serum. Like I'm a makeup girl, but I think serums are the absolute necessity. Especially now, we talk about, makeup for masks, right? So I think that, the greatest thing I would say, no makeup, right? On your face. Put your serum and your SPF and go about your business. Put on, some like a lip balm, but glam out your eyes. Put on some lashes. Make sure your brows are hot. Maybe you can put a little concealer underneath. But when you talk about mask ready, you can still be mask ready without having to, wearing any foundation, anything. But your skin, what you're doing too, like the mask is like, it's blocking, you from, really what you're breathing into the mask, right? So then, and you also got the makeup rubbing if you're wearing on the mask. So then that creates dirt, and then dirt creates more.
Yeah, it harbors bacteria. Wearing the mask.
Yeah, so I say just glam out your eyes. You can put great lashes, like I said, your brows. Do a smoky eye, but leave the rest of your face, clean and fresh and pure, especially during these times where we're wearing a lot of masks.
Yeah.
Now, I've also heard that it's important for a few things, and these are some myths, and I really want to kind of speak to some of these myths, because I think they are the things that have really been detrimental to us as women of color, particularly. Of course, going to bed with making sure, when you were little, you had to tie your hair down. We had to tie our hair down with a silk scarf or a satin scarf, right? With makeup and things like that, having to go to make sure you wash your face before you go to bed. Don't you dare go to bed with makeup on. Are all of those things? Yes, all of that is very true. And if that is so true, then why do they have 24? This is something that was a question. Why do they have 24-hour makeup if I have to wash my makeup off?
because it is a marketing term. It's not a marketing term, right? So
selling point, yeah.
If I tell you your makeup is bulletproof, waterproof in 24 hours, and you're like, boom, I've got, I've got the holy grail then, right? So all of it is
you gotta wait for a bullet to really come and prove that it's bulletproof.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's all marketing. It all sounds great, but it's not the reality. And so for anyone who thinks that they should sleep in their makeup for 24 hours, I have to tell you that no, don't do it. That's it. Just don't do it. Period.
And do we have to sleep with a scarf, Jane? I mean, people think once they get
you wouldn't have to sleep with a scarf, but I would.
I said we both have sister locks.
I think I missed what you said. Right.
Yeah, I was saying we both have sister locks, and people feel like, oh, I have natural hair. Oh, I have locks. Oh, I have this. I don't have to do. They feel like it's a low maintenance style, so I don't have to do A, B, C, or D. Mm-hmm.
No, I would definitely say you don't have to wear a silk scarf, but a satin pillowcase would help because, natural hair, black natural hair is dry naturally. So, anything like cotton or anything like that actually sucks the, moisture out of your hair. So, our biggest thing with black natural hair is to maintain as much moisture as possible. And so when you use the satin or the silk scarf or pillowcase, that slippage just helps with it. So I would say that there definitely is truth to that, that you should wear something that would protect your hair at night. Because unfortunately, we don't wake up and it's just flowing like that. It'll be really hard, real dry. Mm-hmm. So you got to make sure you keep it moist as possible.
Yeah. Well, if and I think a lot of people who maybe if you're just clueless, there's a theme going. We're talking about hydration and moisture for Black people from the hair down, you know what I mean, down to the skin. And we have to you need to look at the products that we use, what we're consuming, and sure that we are we're hydrated and we're getting the moisture, that we need from what we put on our scalp to, what we put in our skin. Anything that's stripping us into the opposite direction of pulling away moisture and that's not the direction that our skin needs to go in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So is it true that we have to wear sunscreen or visors, or can we lay out on the beach? And when we go to the beach, can we get in the water with our natural hair? How do we need to? Because it is the summer. I know it is COVID. COVID is in the air, but I also know that I've spoken to a few people that, hey, I'm headed to the beach, or I'm at the beach. I know you're in Los Angeles, Melissa, and so maybe not so much on the New York side. We may not be going to the beach, but on the LA side, I know people are at the beach. What do we need to be aware of, or what do we need to do for the summer? And then what do we need to do as we transition into the fall, into the colder months? And that is probably more question for Jane and for Sharice.
Yeah, I'll let Sharice talk a lot more. She can go on the skincare. I mean, on the sunscreen side, a lot in greater depth. But obviously, I do believe in sunscreen. But I also believe in getting that good old, real old vitamin D as well. I love sitting in the sun. I love going out into the yard if I'm not able to go to the beach. The governor has kind of taken away a lot of our privileges here. So, with regard to the beach. But, I improvise. I go take my daughter and we go to the park. We lay out in the yard. I encourage her to enjoy being in the sun and getting that natural vitamin D. So I think that's important. But also sunblock is definitely important as well. Again, as I mentioned, we're fighting against UVA and UVB rays. So we say, well, I always say, well, man, our ancestors never didn't wear sunblock. They didn't, but they also they didn't deal with the pollutants that we are dealing with in in this environment as well, that impacts our skin and our immune system, and all those levels. So I'm definitely a big proponent of enjoying the sun, getting out there, getting out of the house. I know we're taking things up very, very literal when it comes to the stay-at-home orders. Yeah, stay at home, but I mean, listen, you got to get out and get some fresh air.
Yeah, you gotta get out.
You gotta get out. Like you are literally killing yourself staying inside. And then not only that, then the depression and the anxiety comes in. And then people, I'm so sad at the amount of suicides I've seen come across my timeline from people in my industry, people that I may have known on social media. And it's all because people are not able to handle what's happening on so many levels. Like, you got to take charge of this moment. Don't let this moment take charge of you. But I digress. I digress. I'll definitely defer to Sharice. I'm more on the sunscreen.
No, we're flowing. We're flowing. That's more than fine. That's more than fine.
Well, with the sunscreen,
Jean?
with
Well, you know.
no,
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, you know, with the sunscreen,
No,
you know, I'm kind of like, I mean, as an esthetician, yeah, you know, they say, okay, yeah, you're supposed to apply sunscreen. But in order for sunscreen to be really effective, you have to apply it like every 30 minutes. Like if you look at the fine print, that's what it says, and nobody does that. By the time you do that, you might as well apply for a job at a circus, because you'll have like a big white cast on your face, for real. But I feel like, you know, once you start detoxing the body and making it less acidic, you really don't burn. You know, so a lot of it has to do with within, because you have people in Africa, they're in the sun all day long, they're not getting skin cancer. I mean, these are my personal beliefs, you understand? But as you do your research, you know, you'll hear more about it. But if you do use a sunscreen, you know, something that doesn't have a lot of chemicals in it. But in order for it to be effective, you have to keep reapplying it, which, you know, by the time you do that, at the end of the day, the bottle's gone. This is my opinion.
No, it's true.
Yeah, but it is true.
Most people apply it that one time.
That one time, yeah. So maybe 20 minutes later, 30 minutes, it's not even effective anymore. You know?
Yeah. And then when you go in the water, that's a whole nother level. You know, you put on the sunscreen in the pool, and then it's Yeah. I mean,
our skin is not, you know, not going to burn. You know, like you know, our melanin is also a great protection.
Exactly. Yes.
You know, so there's that.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like on the fence with that. So I'm not one to say, oh yeah, sunscreen. You know, I mean, it's textbook, but at the same time, you know, realistically, everybody has their, you know, opinions on that.
Say about that hair, when we go to the beach, when we go and we're in the sun, do we need to put conditioner on our hair? Do we need to saturate our hair with water so we don't retain the pool water? What are some of those? What do you say regarding those things to prepare for the summer?
As far as our hair, going to the beach and things like that?
Correct.
I'm just having a little bit of a delay. That's the only reason why I'm asking. Now me personally, I don't, when I go to the beach, I'll just like maybe just do an updo just so I don't get sand in my hair. I don't think we have to do anything super special unless you have a style that you don't want to get messed up. But as far as just the actual care, I mean, I don't really do anything super special. You know, I'll just make sure if I don't want to get it wet or anything, you know, I'll just pull it up. But other than that, I mean, you could pretty much, you know, go as normal when it comes to that.
Okay, and there
That's
no
what I would suggest.
with the chlorine and things of that nature. You know, we've been told, you know, of course, wash your hair right away and get that chlorine out. Right. But is there anything that we can do to protect it from those chemicals?
Well, if you're getting in the pool, you're gonna get the chlorine in your hair. I mean, so the thing with you, I would rinse it. Now if you're getting in the pool, I definitely would say rinse. Like if I'm on vacation and I'm getting in the pool a lot, then I wash it almost every day on vacation. Like, you know, because you don't want that chlorine to start eating away. You know, our hair is sensitive, girl. It's sensitive. You can't do a whole lot of hair. So, you know, we have to protect our hair. We really do. So something like chlorine, yes, of course, you're going to rinse it out. But just going to like the beach, you don't have to do anything special.
Okay, great. Yeah. So we know that we are just about in an hour, and I believe we have. I'm just going to check one more time to see if we have a few questions coming in, and okay, someone is sharing that they believe that we do need sunscreen because they said we can get skin cancer. And as you shared, you know, that was your personal opinion regarding whether or not you should use sunscreen. But I think, like you said, there's so many small print, fine print details in the things that we use that we don't understand that we need to be applying it more than just that one time when we leave the house in the morning or before we go on an excursion. We need to be applying it more often. So those are some of the things that I know many brothers and sisters don't do. We have Tanis who says, when on vacation, using a leave-in conditioner will act as a barrier when in chlorine or salt water. Then you can rinse it out after. So Tanis, who is also a hairstylist, has shared that that bit of information for us. So leave-in conditioner can serve as a barrier to help us to protect our natural hair and our hair in general. And so I realize that we have lots of women that are watching, but we also have a few men. Do you have any bits of information or bits of jewels that you would like to drop for some of the brothers that may be watching? Anything that you'd like to share? Because I know brothers kind of neglect their skincare sometimes, or they neglect their hair care. Lots of our brothers are looking very, very handsome in their beards, and we love, well, let me speak for myself.
Yes.
And
yes,
nice in their beards, especially when they get them lined up and they're looking, So, but I digress. And so, what should those brothers with these beards, what should they be doing? How can they make those beards shine? What should they be doing about the ingrown hairs? What are some of those things that they can be doing?
Yeah,
well, I definitely would say, oh, sorry, you want to speak? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You can go. I'll go next.
Oh, I was going to say, they could condition their beard just like they would do their hair, that could help keep it soft. They could definitely put oil on their, just massage the hair, the skin rather, underneath the beard. But definitely they could use, products just to keep the shine, just like you would do in your hair. But, nothing that's going to be too obvious, obviously. Like, you don't want to put creams and butters and stuff and then you see it. You don't want that. But they could definitely put things just to help it shine and keep it soft. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And get it lined up. Gracious. Get it lined up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think definitely beard washing is important. You've got follicles below that beard, and so you want to take care of that area of your face that's covered, just like we take care of the hair on our head, take care of the hair on your face. I don't think it's, I think men out there, they're not sort of trained to be as consistent with, taking care of their skin and taking care of their beards as we are. And they could also learn that there are a couple oils that are helpful, like tea tree oil or coconut oil, that are really, antimicrobial and antibacterial, that are also great for the bearded men. Tons of amazing natural beard oils that are out there as well. So I think men could stand to invest a little bit into their skincare and their beard care, just naturally. Knowing, how to take care of your skin. Also, men who are bald, also you want to take care of that great, because if you're shaving that often, there's definitely need to care for it. But I also want to encourage women that if you have a man who has a beard, step in there and help and show him how to do that. I think one of the things that I know for sure, I work with a lot of celebrity men, and 9 times out of 10 they say, my wife has never done what you're doing. And what I do for a lot of what I do in the male grooming is I do, I do a steam with a towel that opens up the follicles into their skin. I do massaging. I do stimulation with in their beards, and then I also do the beard grooming. And so oftentimes, ladies, we want our men to massage us and, take care of us, but we need to get our hands on our brothers, as well, our men as well, and, do a little bit of self-care. Because I think when you introduce it to them, they're more inclined to understand how important it is and value it a little bit more. But if you ignore it, they will. Just like telling them to go to the doctor. If we ignore, if we don't tell them to go to, they will, right? But so sometimes we kind of give them that encouragement as well by stepping in. I think women are a little bit more naturally hands-on, so we think we just can introduce them to that area of self-care. We know a lot about self-care, but I very rarely hear a man talk about self-care. Rarely.
Right. And we can't be mad when he goes and he experiences it, and he goes to Melissa or Sharice, and he's getting his beard massaged, and you're like, why are you going back to Sharice? Why are you going back to Melissa?
Yeah. I definitely, I do the massaging, and I do, because that's just, professionally just what I do. It's not anything other than that. But you do, when you have people in your chair, you do hear those stories.
Mm-hmm.
I hear a lot of those stories, and the stories are real that, men often feel that their women they don't give them that kind of care. And 9 times out of 10, it's like the very first time they've ever had a facial massage, the very first time they've ever had, their beard washed and massaged. So it's like, ooh, okay, I didn't want to be the first one to do it. I'm not your lady, but
right.
and I also encourage them to ask for it. I'm like, why don't you tell them what you experience and ask for it and give her that option to step up if that's important to you.
Well, I have a lot of male clients, and a lot of them have the same concerns as women. A lot of times they have concerns and insecurities of their, their breakouts or their ingrown hairs. It really bothers them. And I have a lot of men who are on like a full 5-product, regimen, and they're dedicated, to their regimen. They're dedicated to getting results. They're dedicated to their appointments. And I have some men who are like some better than some women, with their regimens. Like they don't skip a beat. So men, they want their skin to be clear. They want to look good as well. They want to look their best, and sometimes they just have to be introduced to certain things. But once they're introduced to it, I find that a lot of the men are very dedicated to the process.
Nice.
I find with the male clients that I have, when I'm washing their hair, they're like, wait, don't speak. This feels too good. They love
it.
Love it because they're not used to getting their hair washed, and then I'm massaging the scalp and carrying on, and they just like, wait, I need a minute.
Yeah,
so I know
they love it.
They love it too. Like I have men, they order their serum faithfully. Like they're using serum. They want, they want their best skin as well. So
right. And we want our men to have it. Mm-hmm. Say that again, Melissa. I'm sorry.
I think male clients are really loyal. They
are. Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're very dedicated to the process too. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have another question. Shadima asks, "Hi, Line Sister." She asks, "How do I differentiate between hair textures for A, for B, etc.?"
So when you're dealing with hair textures, usually the A, the 1, it goes 1 through 4. Usually 1 is a straight hair. People are straight, like an Asian, okay, just straight hair. When you get into the 2s, you're talking about hair that's a little more wavy, that has a wave to it. When you get to the 3s, now you're talking about your curlier. People have curlier textures, like the Tracy Ellis Rosses. And when you get into the 4s, that's where you get more into the kinkier textures. And then within those textures, within those numbers, it's A, B, and C. So it's like 1A, 1B, 1C, and down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so what would you say? Would you say that even when women start with their hair care, it really depends on what type of hair you have, whatever your hair texture is, that is how you keep it. Just like depending on your skincare or the type of makeup you use, you have to know the type of skin you have. If you have oily hair, oily skin, or if you have 4A, 4B, 4C hair, you would use different products. You would use different techniques in caring for them, correct?
I would say so, because I would say so, especially, because every hair type has a benefit and a detraction, right? So there's things that you could do, like someone with maybe a 3 hair, like a 3C, they could do a wash and go really easily. You know what I mean? Just wash it or curl it. And then, but then someone with the 4C hair, they could do an updo and it'll stay because it's kinky. So, they want to lock it and it locks faster. Mm-hmm. So every hair type has benefit, and then you would use the products to coincide with that hair type. I would say that.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And Melissa, I have a question. You kind of alluded to the selection of foundations. Mm-hmm. And I know when I would go different places, they'd put the foundation right here to make sure, mm-hmm. To find out what color foundation you need. And can you talk to us a little bit about the process of finding the right foundation, because I mean, all of us have seen or been the girl in a photo and the foundation, you know, your face is a whole other color and you're like, oh my God, I hate that picture, erase it, you know. So can you speak to us about protecting our foundation?
That's the number one problem in makeup, is foundation matching. It's the number one problem, which is why you see now a lot of brands like Fenty. But prior to Fenty, there were other brands that had a range of inclusion of you know, Makeup Forever had a 40 shade line before Fenty had. But the difference is that Fenty actually came out with the marketing idea that they're going to include, they're going to add the word inclusive beauty to their marketing, and which completely changed the game, although there were already brands out there with the shade range. So there's that. So the idea is really to find your shade and to find the brand that actually has a range of representation. So I would say to women, you can't really, you know, you can't create anything that's not there. So if you know a brand does not only has 7 ranges, but you go to them and you're demanding them to, you know, you're kind of wasting your time, because they've already said to you, this is all I got. But if you spend the time researching the brands that actually has more of a range, you're much more likely to find one that matches you. So brands like I said, Makeup Forever or Fenty, or you know, everyone has used MAC for a long time. There's a brand that I particularly love, Thrive, is a vegan-based brand that has a wide range of colors and shades as well. So that it starts there, finding the brands that has the range. And then from there, then you're going to really look at, okay, well, what's my skin tone and what's my undertone? So then you're looking at, you know, your undertone, particularly for women, because we know that, you know, they say, well, look at your vein on your hand, and if it's green, then you know that you're going to be warm. You have yellow undertones and different things like that are going to match you. So understanding your undertones are going to be really important. But then you want to look at 3 different shades, and then one of those 3 within that range is going to be your color. So I think it's just important. Unfortunately, now we live in the COVID-19 time where testing is not going to be an option any longer. You may have the option to self-test. I know Sephora and Ulta and a few other the retailers are trying to figure out how to do that. So you will no longer be able to just walk up and pull up, and COVID-19 has changed the way we're able to test for makeup. So if you didn't know your shade before, it's gonna be a little bit more challenging to know your shade now. But they have a lot of technology coming out, AI, audio, artificial intelligence, and VR, which will allow you to take a selfie, and that technology will then be able to tell you what your match, you know, what your skin tone is, and then be able to match you with other brands. So there are sophisticated technology that's coming out. I don't know how accurate it's going to be, but I know that everyone's trying to find a solution. But the number one, I guess, you know, recommendation that I would say is that find a professional like myself or other makeup artists who are doing this thing, that are able to really provide you with really qualified recommendations that are specifically for you. I've been doing a lot of consultations, virtual consultations since COVID, and you know, not to toot my own horn, but I mean, I'm pretty accurate. The reason is because I've done the 10,000 hours. You know what I mean? They say, you know, it takes 10,000 hours to master something. I've done it. You know, and so, and because of that, I can confidently say that I can look at each of you and tell you what I would recommend. My eye is trained. Go ahead. My eye is trained for it, right? You know, that's what I'm supposed to do. My eye can look at you and be able to tell that and be able to make those recommendations. And so that's why it's really important to just spend that. I think it's just a one-time investment. Getting on a one-on-one consultation with a professional, skincare professional, hair care professional, and a makeup professional, and just because if you make that one-time $100, $200 investment for that hour and a half consultation, it'll save you thousands of dollars. The reason why $7.2 billion is spent on beauty and skincare for Black women is because of trial and error. We spend thousands of dollars here and there trying to figure it out without spending that couple $100 to talk to a professional and get the information that you need that one time, and then going to purchase the products that are right for you, that you don't have to deal with all that trial and error.
Yeah, and I believe that every one of us can say that we have found ourselves I can look in my closet, or I used to be able to look in my closet and see all the face washes that I've had, all the different foundations that I've had, all the different hair balms and pomades and things like that I've just tried out, half empty, you know, half full. Used it once, didn't work, didn't like it, it's too sticky, it's too this, not matching, all of those things. And I've wasted a lot of money just trial and error. And so that is absolutely 100% true. Angela asked this question: can you recommend scalp care recommendations? I tend to have dry scalp. Someone's asking for scalp care. And even before you answered it, I would just say that I know one of the number one scalp care recommendations is water. You know, just drinking your water, really, like you said before, staying hydrated. But I'm not the professional. You are. That's why you're here.
No, that's totally fine. It definitely is the inside out. Definitely working from the inside out. But as far as if you just want to put something topical on you, I would definitely say you. Well, I have an oil that I actually make, my scalp and skin oil, and I have 7 different oils in it. And it's funny because people that use it will tell me, you know, my scalp was itching and I use your oil and it stopped. I would just say you just have to get a good oil that you can moisturize and use as a hot oil treatment, moisturize your scalp. Definitely drink your water, you know, but it's so hard to like pinpoint one thing or the other unless I actually saw the person. But just general recommendations is definitely that, like a good oil to moisturize your scalp, and then drink your water. And then it's really how you eat. A lot of that has a lot to do with it, what you're eating, you know, how you're taking care of yourself. That has a lot to do with it. And just getting a consultation, like she said, you know, that really helps as well.
Yeah. Because the reason why the consultations are important with us professionals is because we can ask you all those questions. We get down to the nitty and the gritty, you know what I mean? And I think that you're not going to get the same when you go into a makeup store or any department store, because they're there to sell you something. So they just really, and they oftentimes are not selling you what you need. They're selling you what they need to get the quota for that day. And so, you know, so I just think that we just need to take those, because we clearly have the dollars to spend, you know, so why not spend it on investing in yourself to find out what's going to be best for you. That's just plain and simple for me.
Wonderful, wonderful. So tonight, we have had rich conversation. I'm so sorry for those of you. I'm so sorry that Google, I promise you, we're going to try to get Google to come on. Maybe we'll just have an hour with Google, and she'll give us some fashion tips, because I know some of you have come on because you want to hear about fashion. But before we go, we did have a giveaway, a drawing, and we have several people who are winners tonight. And we want, before our guests share with us their final liberating thought, you know, we always close our show with our final liberating thought. I'd like to go ahead and begin to share who some of our winners are. And if you don't mind, I have a few of the winners here. I'm just trying to pull it up. I'm so excited. But Sister Cherise and Melissa have also, they have thrown some things into the giveaway pot. So we're going to have more giveaways than we intended on having. So Sister Cherise, will you share with us what you're going to give away? And Melissa, will you share what you're going to give away? And then I'll share what the other giveaways are going to be tonight. So Cherise?
Well, I would love to give away my top secret serum and also my glow oil.
Nice.
Now, are those going to 2 separate people, or is one person going to get both of them?
2 separate people. Well, you know what? I'll throw in a charcoal cleanser as well. 3 separate people.
So 3 charcoal cleanser.
Charcoal cleanser, top secret serum, and the oil.
All right. So Cherise has charcoal cleanser, top secret serum, and her glow oil. And Miss Melissa, what are you offering tonight?
I am giving away my book, Face Your Beauty. Last year in August, I released my first book called Face Your Beauty. The idea of the book is, it's about overcoming the challenges of your life and allowing those challenges to lead you to your true self. And your true self is the beauty that's inside of you, not the one that's outside of you. So the book is called Face Your Beauty, and I will be giving away an autographed copy.
Yes, and I have mine. Yes. And so our other giveaway is, so now that's four lucky people are going to get something, but we have 3 other people. Let me just turn around and get, as Oprah says, let's go to the videotape. So I'm of the mindset that you can be as beautiful or as handsome as you want to be, but all of that is great, but if you don't smell good, can I get a witness?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't smell good, then, So we're going to give away tonight a bottle of Yellow Diamond Versace perfume.
One of my favorites.
We're also going to give away a Gucci Premier perfume. And for a lucky gentleman out there that has joined the drawing, he's going to get Burberry Brit for men.
Nice.
Those are good choices. Yes.
Those are great prices, right?
Get on your Christmas list, girl.
I know. Not only are you going to look good because you're going to take away some of these tips, but you are also going to smell good. So, and you're going to read good tonight. So let me look at our, we did the drawing earlier. So why don't we start with the brother who is going to win up? And the brother who has won is, it's hilarious. His birthday is actually tomorrow. I happen to know the brother. He is a Fiskite.
Oh, okay.
Dion Davis.
Dion
Davis.
Yay, Dion. That's great. That's good.
Congratulations.
Dion is always dapper, so that works perfectly for Dion.
Yes. So we are going to, Dion is going to get that. The next winner is, let me see our next winner. Oh boy, Sharon Ziegler. Sharon Ziegler is our next winner. Sharon Ziegler, we are going to send you Melissa's book. Melissa's book. Sharon is going to get Melissa's book. Woo! Sharon Ziegler is in the building. Okay, let's see who else is going to get. Our next winner is one of my beloved sorors, a beautiful, beautiful person. I would like to say, Sister Harris, Keandra Harris, you are going to get this Gucci. Gucci goes to Keandra. All right. We are excited about these prizes. The serum. Now let's get to the serum. Who is going to get the serum? See now, if you didn't get into the drawing, I can't help you. This is all from the drawing. And this is no bias, because somebody's going to say, you giving that to her because, that's your line sister. No, but she came up in the list. So Keisha Grant, you get the top secret serum. Keisha Grant gets the top secret serum. All right. And our assistant is writing all of this down. All right. Who's getting this charcoal wash? Is that what's next up, Sharice?
Yes.
Our the charcoal cleanser, not wash. Sister Felicia Ware is getting the charcoal cleanser.
Yay.
Sister Felicia Ware, you are getting the cleanser. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And we have the oil, the glow oil, correct?
Yes.
The glow oil, and then we'll do our final perfume. All right. And our glow oil is going to, I don't see a last name. So, oh, here it is. Denise Davenport. That is Pastor Denise Davenport is getting that glow oil. All right, Pastor Davenport. All right, you're going to be glowing from the pulpit. And last but not least, the winner of our Versace Yellow Diamond is going to be Miss Melanie Clark. Melanie Clark is the winner. Sister Melanie, I hope you're cheering and yelling. She's had a wedding anniversary the other day, so I know she needs some smell good for her husband.
That is a delicious perfume, let me tell you. I have it in my arsenal, so I know. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm a person. I have this too. A very, very special someone gave it to me on our first date.
You must not have liked it too much if you did it away. No, I'm kidding.
No. I have mine. This is another one. Oh, okay. So, ladies, as we close out tonight, would you please share with us your last liberating thought? What is your last liberating thought? As business owners, as women of color, whatever your last liberating thought is.
I would say have faith and never give up. If anybody just tried to tell you to stop and you believe in yourself and you believe you can get wherever you're going, just don't give up. Just keep going and have faith.
Keep going.
Yes.
Have faith and keep going. That's beautiful.
Yes. No matter what, have faith. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, mine would be, I definitely love that one as well. I believe, what I would like to say is, don't be afraid to reinvent yourself. I think we are at a time right now in the world where, especially many of us who are in our industry may not know like what's next, because you start and then you stop, and this virus is unpredictable, and it's causing many of us to really think about how we're going to go about the business of beauty in the way that we've been doing it before. And then there could be other opportunities that we're not thinking about or afraid to discover. So I would say lean into the fear, because it's really going to be where your greatest breakthrough is going to be. And once you break through, don't be afraid to reinvent yourself. And that may be uncomfortable for certain people. Who you become, your greatest self, could mean that you may have to leave certain people and other situations behind in order to, to fly higher. But, your calling is going to, really push you, to that. So I would say I've never been afraid to reinvent myself. I've done it. I left corporate America when I was 36. And, my family and people around me knew the kind of income that I was making, the kind of lifestyle that I had. And even they were like, you're going to leave that behind. I'm like, I'm not leaving it behind. I'm just shifting so that I can enjoy it in a better way. All of the things that are meant for me, they have to be aligned. And in order for me to do that, I'm going to have to pivot, as they say. And so don't be afraid to reinvent yourself, to pivot during these times, and to know that on the other side of it is a better you, and a you that's, just going to be prepared for your legacy. It's about legacy right now. I value the time that I've gained from being in this pandemic. I value my time, and I'm owning my time. I'm taking my time back, and I'm doing what Melissa wants to do, how Melissa wants to do it, in the name of beauty.
Nice. Well done.
I couldn't do it more. I'm over here like, yes. I agree 100% with what she just said, what Melissa just said. I would say my final thought in being liberated for me was making sure I take out time for myself, because if you want to keep loving what you do, then you need time for yourself as well. So I had to create boundaries in my business. When you first start out, you are just like a hookup on the street. But then no. I don't want to be looking for. And
that's so true. Yeah.
Your appointment, you just doing everything.
Yeah, anywhere.
You do. And I was like, no, I can't do it no more. So I created boundaries. I would say no. I take 2 days off every week. Yes, I do. I have also, during this pandemic on the lockdown, I always had a YouTube beauty page, but I wanted to do a commentary beauty page because I like to talk, as you can see, and so I was able to do that. So in the reinventing of yourself, like Melissa said, it's kind of like I needed to make sure, even though I was doing the beauty part, I still had to make sure I was doing something for me personally.
Mhm.
So I would say, in the liberating, to make sure you always include yourself in the plans. Because, the money, because money will come. That one thing I've learned, that money will always come,
Always.
that's given. But, when you do what you love, money comes even faster. So it's kind of like getting into the zone of doing what feels good, pay attention to what feels good. If things don't feel good, kind of avert, go around the corner, try something new, and you will definitely have a liberated life, for sure.
Mhm.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Well, ladies, I thank you. I thank each and every one of you for joining me tonight and sharing a bit of your story, a bit of your journey, and then just giving us some tools and some tips about our beauty and how we can enhance our beauty, how we can be better at being who we have been called to be. And as I shared earlier, on this journey of being a sisterpreneur, it has been very interesting, to say the least. Um, and one of the things that I've learned in becoming liberated, I was very, very afraid. But one of the things I realized was it was right in front of me all the time. The direction that I was supposed to go was right in front of me. It was right in my sphere the entire time, and I just had to pay attention. So if I would leave a liberating thought tonight for you, and what God has been kind of speaking to me over the last few weeks and during this pandemic, has been to pay attention. To pay attention. There's so many messages coming at us, so many people coming at us, so much going on around us. But it is very important that we pay attention, because the very things that we need, the very things that we want, the things we desire, the places we want to go, the people that we want to meet, everything is right in our sphere of influence. And all we have to do is pay attention. And so, with that, my brothers, my sisters, my friends, my family, I encourage you to do all those things that our sisters have shared with you tonight. But most importantly, I encourage you to live a liberated life. We'll see you next month with a new, wonderful, exciting topic to discuss. We love you, and we thank God for each and every one of you. We'll see you soon. Have a great, great night.